Good morning. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to all the 12 tribes of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob who have been scattered into the four corners of the earth. Shabbat Shalom and good morning to you. Good morning to those who have been grafted into the nation that is scattered into the four corners of the earth through the line of the tribe of Judah, Messiah, who we call Yahweh Shai, but who some people call Jesus Christ. Greetings. Blessings upon those that are working in the healthcare field, trying to save lives. Blessings also upon those that make deliveries for us, for our convenience. Double blessings also upon those who are trying to help deliver and rescue boys and girls, men and women, teenagers from the clutches of sex slavery, human trafficking, going on all over the earth with powerful people behind it. Curses upon those. Blessings upon those trying to deliver these people that are sometimes raised up from babies to adults in prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, pedophilia, and molestation. Curses upon the ones that practice these things, that snatch these people, that force them into these things and exploit them. Double curses on them and blessings on the ones trying to help and deliver and rescue them. Finally, blessings upon the homeless, 600,000 men, women, and children on the streets of the United States of America and millions around the earth in worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom and those that are trying to help them. Shabbat Shalom and greetings to the brethren and sisters that are in the chat. Sister Wade, Brother Mark, Righteous, Brother David, Sister Bathama, Isha, blessings and welcome to you all. We have been studying the prophecy of Hosea, a prophet of the northern tribes, of the 10 northern tribes. Today, before we get into chapter 8 of Hosea, I told you I wanted to go into some background into Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who really started the northern kingdom into the trajectory that led to its dispersion, to its outcast from the land and into the four corners of the earth. Several centuries, multiple centuries before the southern kingdom was scattered. So much so, as we mentioned last night, that when Messiah went to the spot where Ephraim had settled, where the well that Jacob had fed his wife Rachel, his future wife Rachel's flocks, he met a woman there, and that place, that whole area was called Samaria because the original people had mostly been scattered from there, and the ones that were left were mixed. Ephraim is mixed with the nations, were mixed with idol worshipers. And so that's why it was called Samaria. And so that had started here, what we're going to talk about here with Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and how it came to pass and what Jeroboam did and how we ended up with a golden calf, which is also in the same image of the goat. And we'll talk about that. As you can see in the thumbnail, that calf that I put on the thumbnail is on Wall Street. That's the calf is in Wall Street. No coincidence. It's a golden calf. Okay, so let's talk about what we see here. And first, let's start in First Kings. I'm going to start in First Kings chapter 11 because this is where it all started. First Kings chapter 11, and you're gonna see me wear these glasses here when I go to read today because I have my contacts on because I had intended to either do a jog or a walk today. So I have my contacts on and my treadmill started acting crazy. So I couldn't do it. Make a long story short, I still got my contacts on and I can't read close up with my contacts because I'm old. So I need these glasses to help me read when I have my contacts on. Anyway, that's the situation. All right. So let's start with how the kingdom got divided in the first place in First Kings chapter 11. Now, this is also going to be very appropriate for the promises that the Most High has given us, as we read last night in his word, where he says, I'm going to bring back the kingdom again. And I'm going to bring all of the 10 northern tribes and the southern kingdom together. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But let's look at First Kings chapter 11. Going to begin at verse 1. First Kings chapter 11, beginning at verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Of the nations concerning which Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after other gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. Now I want to stop here. There are many Israelites today who are awakening, who are misappropriating this principle. The principle of not going into other nations. In other words, not mixing. They call it today swirling. And what they're saying is black men with white women, or black women with white men. And they're saying they're using this principle as a reason why people should not do that. And it's misappropriated. First of all, let's understand what we just read. Israel was given land, and they were an independent nation. Okay, so they were given the land that had been called the land of Canaan. Canaan being one of the children of Ham. They were given his land according to Leviticus 18 because of the horrible sins that Canaan's people were performing on that land. And it even goes back further where Noah's prophecy said Canaan's going to be the servant of Shem. So now, and then of course, the Most High promised Abraham that land to his children because of the iniquity of the Amorites on that land. So now Israel had their own nation, an independent nation, and they had their own God, Yah, and they were under his covenant. Okay? That's why he said, because all the nations around him worship idols. And he said, don't marry the women of these nations that worship idols, because then you'll leave your God to worship idols. That was the problem. Now, how does that equate today? Well, the New Testament says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. What fellowship, it says, have light with darkness, and the Most High with Baal, right? So the equivalent today would be, don't get with somebody that's not worshiping Yah. It don't matter what color they are. Don't get with somebody that's not following your God, not a worshiper of the Most High Yah. Now, what Satan has done is he's convinced every person on the planet that we all worship the same God. That's what he's done. He's convinced every religion, pretty much, with some exceptions, on the planet that we all worship the same God. But we all don't worship the same God if the Most High says, don't be with a person that worships another God. So we can't all worship the same God. Not only that, if we all worship the same God, we would worship the same way. We would call him the same name. We would call him Yah, no matter what country we come from. But that's not the case. So if you have, just let's take Christianity. You have one denomination that says you could eat anything, eat pork or whatever. Then you have another one that says you can't eat meat at all. And you have one denomination that says there's this man, Joseph Smith, he's our prophet. But then this other one says, no, Ellen White's the end time prophet. And then the Nation of Islam says, no, the last messenger was Elijah Muhammad. They were all so in other words, if they worship the same God, that God's confused. And that God's confused. And somebody would say, well, it depends on where you're from. He's going to conform to where you're from. Oh, so the Creator says, I created you, and so I'm going to make you worship me different than somebody else. You see, that doesn't make no sense. The Bible says there's one God, and he chose one people, and he gave that people his covenant. That's it. He don't have any other. Okay, so you want to know who the true God is? It's the God of the Israelites, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, with what he taught them in terms of statutes and judgments and covenant. That's it. There's no Buddha. There's no Allah. There's no Arab prophets according to the Bible. So when it's telling us to not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, it's dealing with worship, what God you worship. Now, in our modern society, sometimes it can be differentiated because of culture. Let me explain. If you are of the children of Japhet, then you have been raised in a system, a society, entire world political and economic system that is created and dominated by what we call today white people. And in that culture, you are the gods. They will give honor and glory to man all day. And all of the Christian religions we have started with Rome and them. So now with that culture, it's not, and I'm not saying, please don't get it twisted. I'm not saying every Caucasian person is evil. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is every person is affected positively and negatively by the environment in which you are raised. And so if you're raised in an environment where you're the dominant people and you generally are used to getting certain expectations met, it's very difficult for you to see anything else, to understand anything else. It's very difficult. Okay. Whereas if you are raised in a society where you are the minority, oftentimes you're hated. Oftentimes you recognize there's places you cannot go because of the color of your skin. And that things are against you. You're raised in this. Then you have a certain mindset. You understand? So that if you realize you are Hebrew, you realize who your ancestors really are. And now you want to connect with another person who believes they're entitled, who believes they should get what they're supposed to get, who is not used to really having faith and definitely not worshiping Yah, you're going to have a problem. Okay. And it's not because of the whiteness of her skin or his skin. It's because of how they've been raised. It's the culture we're in. It's the culture we're in. Okay. Now, any skin color can come to the truth. Any skin color can come to the truth. Okay. But again, you have to recognize the culture that you're in and how it has affected people positively and negatively. It's not something you can control. Some people try to, I don't see color. Well, you're lying to yourself. Either you're color blind, literally, or you're lying to yourself because there is color. And if you say, well, race doesn't matter, you're lying to yourself there too, because we're living in the United States, we're living in a complete society built on racism, built on a foundation that says these persons from Japhet are called white and they're superior. This whole nation is built on that. And all of the big heroes, the founders of your George Washingtons and your Thomas Jeffersons, they showed that because they all owned black people. You can't run from that. That is what it is. Okay, you can't run from it. I say like this, when you finish running and hiding and trying to make excuse, that's when you're ready to come to the truth. Otherwise, you're just ready to live in the world of deception. To try to say, well, Jesus makes us all equal. Jesus makes us equal. His grace. Well, you have a white Jesus that you've been pushing on us for 400 years. And if you're going to try to claim that has no effect on us or on you, you're lying to yourself and you're being a deceiver. When you're ready to come to the truth, we can talk plainly. Okay? We can talk plainly. So here in 1 Kings chapter 11, the problem wasn't the number of wives Solomon had, although the Most High did say in the book of the law that the king should not multiply to himself so many wives. It wasn't like, he's supposed to have 700 wives and concubines. But that wasn't the big problem. The problem was they were strange women. They were women of nations that were around his nation that the Most High specifically said, do not mix with them because they will get you to turn away your heart from following the Most High. And y'all know now the first principle of the covenant, which is the most important principle, thou shalt have no other gods before him, because he's a jealous God. And he's saying, I brought you out of the land of Egypt. I brought you out of slavery. I promised your fathers I would do it, and I did it. And I don't want you worshiping any other gods. So that's the major issue. That's the major issue. All right. Praise the Most High. That's the major issue. So now let's continue. I just wanted to get that out there because a lot of people, when all of a sudden you see a Caucasian man and a black man, Caucasian woman and a black man, or a black woman and a Caucasian man. Now, some of them are doing it because they hate themselves. I agree. And that's wrong. And that's bad. That's a mental issue. But you got to understand, when you're raised in 400 years of oppression, you're going to get mental issues. You're going to get PTSD. It's just part of the package. Okay, it's part of the package. That's why you get coons out there. Okay, because it's part of the package. They hate themselves. And then they hating themselves, they hate their people. Right? Well, we praise the Most High for his truth, though, because that sets us free. You shall know the truth. The truth shall set you free. So here, this is Solomon's problem. He's dealing with a whole bunch of idol worshiping women. And he's connecting with them. He's having children with them. Okay, that's where we have a problem here. All right, so let's continue. Verse 3. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. And his wives turned away his heart. Again, I want to also stress, it wasn't like just like he had the harem. Obviously, he couldn't visit all 1,000 of them on a regular basis. But he set up estates for them because he was wealthy. The wealthiest man in the nation of Israel was Solomon. And so he set up estates. That's what marriage is about in the Bible, taking care of the woman and building the nation. It wasn't necessarily, oh, I love you and I have feelings for you. No. This was about business, setting up the nation. And the woman was like, now you can take care of me and I can have sons for you. And our sons are going to take care of me when I get old. That's how that deal worked. Okay. And Solomon, being the king, had assets above all other people in the nation. Okay, let's continue. So they turned away his heart. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh, his Most High, as was the heart of David, his father. Okay, let's continue. For Solomon went after, and now watch this. Y'all want to know what the abomination that maketh desolate. Why does that? Y'all heard that term? The abomination that maketh desolate. That's what Messiah told us. Daniel the prophet talked about the abomination that maketh desolate. Here's a hint here, because the Bible uses, if we're going to read right here, the word abomination to simply sometimes mean a false god. Okay, sometimes it just says abomination, which means it's a false god. Okay, so let's continue. Look at this. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination, of the Ammonites. And Solomon did cleave in the sight of did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh, as did David his father. Then did Solomon build a high place for Chemosh. And notice what he said, the abomination of Moab, you see, in the hill that is before Jerusalem. And for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. Likewise did he for all his strange wives, which he burnt incense and sacrifice unto their God. And Yahweh was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from Yahweh, Most High of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which Yahweh commanded. Now, the abomination that maketh desolate. What does that mean? See, these were false gods of those nations. Each one had their own false god. But the abomination that maketh desolate is a worldwide system that brings the whole earth under its control and brings the whole earth to ruin. You understand? So there's a system that we now have in place that's worldwide, that touches all the other systems and all the other systems of subservient to it. We call it Babylon. It's a political, religious, and economic system. It's worldwide. It covers banking. It covers entertainment. It covers business. It covers religion. It covers all of that. And because it's worldwide, this false system causes worldwide ruin. That's why it's the abomination that maketh desolate. But if these abominations make desolate for those individual nations, this is a worldwide system, because Daniel said that the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom, which shall subdue the whole earth and break it down. Okay? That's where we are. Okay? So now Solomon was worshiping all these, and the Most High said, now I'm gonna break up the kingdom. So let's take a look at this. Let's skip down and let's go, because of Solomon's sin, his Most High was bringing adversaries against him. One of them was this man we're talking about today, Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. So let's take a look in the same 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 26. Verse 26. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zeradah, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. So notice he's an Ephrathite. He's from Ephraim, okay? And he was Solomon's servant. He was actually a military man, as we're going to see. And he was Solomon's servant. And he began to rebel against Solomon. Okay, verse 27. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king. Solomon built Millo and repaired the breaches of the city of David, his father. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. See, he was a military man. And Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. So he made him ruler over the tribe of Ephraim, the house of Joseph, and the tribe of Manasseh. Okay, that's the house of Joseph. So he made him ruler, and Ephraim was the top house outside of Judah. Ephraim was the original place of the Ark of the Covenant. So he made Jeroboam ruler of Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, verse 29. And it came to pass that at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, now watch what happens, that the prophet Ahiah, a Shilonite, found him in the way, and he had clad himself with a new garment. And they two were alone in the field. And Ahiah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces. For thus saith Yahweh, the Most High of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Because that they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in mine eye, and to keep my statutes in my judgment, as did David his father. Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will turn it to thee, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and shalt be king over Israel. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and will walk in my ways, and do that which is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee, and will build thee a sure house, as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. See, so Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt. We always like going there, don't we? Unto Shishak, the king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. So Jeroboam was promised by the prophet who spoke on behalf of the Most High 10 tribes. And he said, if you obey my statutes and my commandments, I'm going to establish your kingdom. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. What we need to understand in the real sense is power corrupts. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the truth about it. When Daniel was given power in Babylon, what did he do? He opened his window toward Jerusalem and he prayed 3 times a day. You understand? When Daniel was given power, he opened up his windows to Jerusalem, where the temple was ruined. It was destroyed, but he still prayed toward Jerusalem 3 times a day because he understood power corrupts. Okay? It starts in the household and it goes up from there. It can be even a little menial job somewhere, and you got a supervisor that's on a power trip. Power corrupts, small or large amounts. And when you are a situation where you are a ruler, a king, governor, president, it corrupts absolutely. This is why I'm telling you now what's going on with Donald Trump, for example. Donald Trump in New York was known to be a shyster, but he was always rich. And so he had power over his little realm in New York, right? He had power, he had properties, he had assets, he had people that answered to him. But let me tell you something. There is no power like the power of the president. Because the president don't even need to have money. It's his word. And so when Donald Trump got a taste of that, he wanted desperately to keep it forever. See, that's why he's trying to say now, they stole it from me. It's my presidency, my presidency. It's because he had a taste of ultimate power. And even the president answers to higher powers, but there's no power like that. And if you can see it, when you look at presidents, look at the presidents, everyone, especially those that serve 2 terms. Look at them when they first become president in their first term, and look at them at the end of their second term, and look at how much they age in the 8 years. They all do. Just look at them. But Ronald Reagan started in 1981, and by the time he came out 8 years later, in 1990, what was the next? 88. It was last term, and then he had Alzheimer's. He didn't even know who he was. The last couple of years, it was Bush running the presidency, and then Bush became president, right, for that one term. But it just shows you how that power corrupts and ages you. We don't understand unless you're in that situation, and that's why you see Daniel praying for wisdom and guidance, and you see Solomon started off that way, but the power got to him. The power and the money and the wealth got to him, and now he's done. He was done. And so here's Jeroboam, a servant, a valor, a mighty man of valor, and then Solomon wants to kill him. He's given 10 tribes to rule, and he's told, I'm going to bless you if you take care of these 12, if you obey my statutes and commandments, you worship no other gods, I'm going to bless your kingdom. We're going to see the power got to him. All right, let's just look. So we're going to skip the part where it actually happened and just go to his rulership. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, Jeroboam is king. And let's go from verse in chapter 12 of 1 Kings, from chapter 12 of 1 Kings. I'm going to start at verse 25. Actually, I'm gonna just read. Just for the background's sake, I'm gonna read verse 20. Then I'm gonna skip down to verse 25. Okay. So 1 Kings chapter 12. 1 Kings chapter 12. I'm gonna just read verse 20, and then I'm gonna skip down to verse 25. We're talking about the rulership of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. And it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. Now, we also going to find out that Benjamin also was with them. Benjamin and Judah. Okay, so he had 10 and David had 2. Okay, verse 25. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim. That's where he's from. So remember, he's an Ephraimite. Ephraim is now the capital of the northern kingdom. Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to sacrifice in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again to their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. So this is what he's thinking. I got power now. I need to stop the people from going to, remember, they're all supposed to go worship in Jerusalem. That's why I told you, the feast is supposed to be kept in Jerusalem. So he knew they were going to go there. Instead of remembering what the prophet told him, if the Most High promised you, I'm going to protect you, I'm going to be with you, I'm going to bless your kingdom, what you worried about David? And he's also telling you, I'm going to bless my servant David, because that's who I promised my servant. So you're supposed to respect that. But see, the power started getting to him even now. So he starts saying, no, I can't have them going up to Jerusalem. They got to worship here in Ephraim. Okay, watch. Verse 28, whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. So now he lying to control the people. He lying to control the people. He's lying to keep control of the people. Let me ask you, is there any religions doing that today? What do you think? Is there denominations that will lie to you to keep control of you? Like say things like, you know, if you leave my church, you're going to be lost. This is the only true church. You leave this church, you lost. You ever heard that one? I have. Let's continue. And he set the one in Bethel and the other in Dan. So he put 2 calves, one in Bethel, that was in Ephraim, and the other in Dan. I want you to notice something. Okay. You know there's 12 sons of Jacob, right? And you know that the New Jerusalem is going to have a gate, and each son's name is going to be over the gate, right? All 12 sons. Both Ezekiel chapter 48 and Revelation chapter 21 show us that there's a gate there's 12 gates. There's 3 gates on each side of the city of the New Jerusalem, and each gate has the name of one of Jacob's sons. So that each gate, there's a tribe represented. Okay, y'all got that, right? Okay. But when you look at the 144,000, the 12,000 by 12 tribes, Dan and Ephraim are not there. Dan and Ephraim is not there. Both Dan and Ephraim are missing. You say, well, how do you come up with 12? Because you have Manasseh, which was what, see, Joseph got the blessing of the firstborn. That's what in the Bible, the firstborn gets a double blessing. So if there's 5 kids, 5 sons, you're going to divide your inheritance. You're going to divide it and make 6. And the firstborn's going to get 2 parts, and the other 4 are going to get 1/6 each. That's how you do it. So in the 12 sons, Joseph got a double portion, the firstborn. It was Reuben that was the firstborn of Jacob, but Joseph was the firstborn of Rachel. And Reuben was going to get the blessing, but then he had sex with his father's concubine. So he lost the blessing, and it went to Joseph. That's why he was the blessing of the firstborn. Okay. So Joseph's double blessing represented Ephraim and Manasseh. They would have 2 parts in Israel. And the Levites weren't counted because the Most High said, I am the inheritance of the Levites. Remember that? He said, I'm their inheritance. They don't get counted with the land like everybody else. I'm their inheritance. And instead of Levi, you got Joseph's 2 sons, which is why you still had 12. Well, if you look at the 144,000, Dan is not there and Ephraim is not there. What do you have? You have Levi and you have Joseph himself. That we have Joseph himself is represented there. So you see all the rest, But then you see Joseph and Levi. There's no Dan. There's no Manasseh. There's no Ephraim. And this is why. See, this is why. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's continue. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 29. And he set the one in Bethel and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. Again, he's making his own religion. You see why I say not all of us worship the same God? What he's doing is what you see everybody doing today. They use the same Bible, but they make their own religion. Some people say, well, we're just New Testament Christians. Oh, no, we just worship the books of Moses. We just follow the books of Moses. No, Paul's not inspired. People are making their own religion, and they get that from this man. And this man is not the original. The devil is the original, Satan. For he told Eve, if you eat of the fruit that represents me, you're going to be your own God. And to this day, the man as God doctrine is everything in the earth today. It's everything. It's everything. And that's why it's called Babylon. That's right. That's why it's called Babylon. Because the man as God doctrine is everywhere, brethren. Some people do, they start churches so that I've seen people do it. I've seen women start churches so they can get the tithe money. They want to get rich. And they talk all charismatic and loud, and they trying to get rich. And people do it because in the black community, especially, the sons are put in jail or killed. So a lot of times women raise the sons, and we learn to worship our mothers. And so when you see a woman standing before the church, you start saying, oh, in your mind, that's your mother. And you're gonna honor her where she's not supposed to be standing before the church. But everybody got their own doctrine, and they follow their own thing. The SDA's got theirs, the Jehovah's Witnesses got theirs, the Mormons got theirs, the Catholics got theirs, and it's all based on the same thing. Man as God. Same thing. Okay? And this is a similar thing right here. So he's decided he's going to ordain his own priest. He put his two calves, he got his own capital. He got his own city of Jerusalem. He got Dan and Ephraim. He said, I'm ordained priests that are not Levites. Forget that. Forget the Levites. Your guys are going to be priests. I'm going to make whoever I want priests. Just like people today that try to name themselves apostles. Let me ask you, have you ever read Revelation 21, where it says that the apostles of the Lamb are in the foundations? How many are there? Where it says there. It says there's names in the foundations, right? Remember that? Wait, let's take a look at that. Revelation chapter 21. Revelation chapter 21. I don't want to think I'm making anything up. Let's take a look at it. Revelation chapter 21. What does it say? Revelation 21. Verse 14. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. How many apostles are there exactly? How many? 12. Did it say 13, 14, 8, 12? Therefore, I am not an apostle. Why? Because there was only 12 of those. But you know what? I could call myself apostle, raw Hebrew, right? I could make something up. But the word doesn't support that. Because the word says there are 12 apostles. Okay? Who the Messiah said are going to sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. You understand? People making this, there are so many people making up so many things. Nobody can keep count of it. That's why it's called Babylon, confusion. There's one word. And even in this one Bible, you got people saying, well, let's look at the New International Version. Let's look at the NIV. Let's look at the NSAB. Let's look at the ABCD. Oh, we improved it. Let's look at the New King James, and then took our whole chapters. No, we done made it better. It's the New World Translation. No, you need these other books. They're hiding books from you. The white man is hiding books from you. So you got to find these other books so you know the whole truth. Oh, so the Most High Yah can't put it right in front of you and preserve it himself. He can't do that. Let me tell you something, man. I think we talked about this before, but it's still true. When the devil is trying to hide something from us, he puts it right in front of our face. Right? I mean, when he's trying to hide something from you, he puts it in plain sight. Goats, images everywhere. 9/11, everybody saw them planes hit the building. I remember. Them planes didn't knock down the building. And then there was a third building that fell that nothing touched. Oh, the vibration knocked that one down. They just happened to be all owned by the same guy. The firemen running away testified. We was running, and it was like they was just. They said it was like they were demolishing the building. You could see the boom, boom, boom coming out of every floor. Oh, but we're conspiracy theorists if we listen to the fireman that was right there running away. But it's right in front of your face. Now everything disintegrated, but somehow they found the passport of one of the hijackers in perfect condition on the ground. Dust everywhere. Everything completely disintegrated. Computers, everything. But they found his passport. It fell out of his pocket, I guess, when he hit and he found it in perfect condition. But you know what? You can't believe what you're seeing right in front of you. You see what I'm saying? When they want to hide something, they put it right in front of you. You understand? So, brethren, here we are. It's right in front of us. It's right in front of us. We just got to read it. It's right there. I was telling my wife when I was talking this morning, the thing that separates this King James Bible from everything else is its prophetic utterance. The prophecy that it gives is what tells you it's real. Because when you start understanding the prophecy and you start seeing it, there's nothing else out there. The Quran ain't telling you no prophecy. It's not. And if you listen to the SDAs, there should be a national Sunday law about now. I mean, it's been on the president's desk for the last 100 years. You understand? And the Jehovah's Witnesses will tell you all foods are clean, but we will let babies die because we don't want a blood transfusion because we can't eat blood. But we can go to McDonald's and have a medium rare hamburger. Do that because everything's clean. See how confusing it is? I mean, it's just ridiculous. But everybody's making up gall and wormwood, right? Because it's after the imagination of their own heart. Just read this one book, man, and worship your one God, Yah, through his son, Messiah. And he will make everything plain to you by his spirit. You don't have to worry about me or anyone else. You and him can deal with this. Let's go. 1 Kings chapter 12. Watch this now. Watch Jeroboam now. Verse 31. And he made a house of high places and made priests of the lowest sort of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam ordained a feast. He ordained a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month. Now the feast is in Jerusalem in the 7th month on the 15th day of the month. That's the Feast of Tabernacles. He said, no. We're going to do ours on the 8th month, the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, in the month which he had devised of his own heart. and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar the burnt incense. This was the beginning of Samaria. You understand? You see what they were doing? And it got worse from here. It got worse from here. That's what Hosea is talking about. It got worse from here. Okay. But the Most High prophesied about a king to come out of Judah in the next chapter, chapter 13. Watch this. 1 Kings chapter 13, beginning at verse 1. And behold, there came a man of Yah out of Judah by the word of Yahweh unto Bethel. And Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. So here he is at his false god, his false altar, and he getting ready to burn incense to his false god. And the man of Yah came out of Judah. Watch. And he cried against the altar in the word of Yahweh and said, O altar, thus saith Yahweh, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name. He named him many years before Josiah was even thought about. He named it. And upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, this is the sign which Yahweh hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of Yah, which he had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, lay hold on him. And his hand which he put forth against him dried up, so that he could not pull it again to him. Yo, y'all see that? Look, Yahushua, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, is coming to destroy all these false religions. And he's going to deliver Judah. But we also know what he said. I'm going to also deliver Israel. I'm going to bring them back to myself. But we also know that the 144,000 does not include Ephraim and Dan. Okay? It does not include Ephraim and Dan. It includes 10, the northern kingdom tribes now, but not Ephraim and not Dan. All right? Praise the Most High. Now you got a little bit of a background into what Hosea is dealing with when he's proclaiming the word of the Most High against the northern kingdom. And you got an understanding now why you see all the look. Did you go do yourself a favor? Look up ruins of Aztec Indian ruins, Mayan Indian ruins. You will see they build what they call it in the Bible, high places. They built the high places. Every place they go, they build high places to worship. Okay. There you go. Praise them. The word shows you everything, man. All we have to do is be submissive to the word and read it. And when I say submissive to it, it annoys me when people don't understand something. Instead of just saying we don't understand, they're going to say, well, this is false, because they got to be proud. You see, brethren, pride, man. Pride. Pride got Asatan kicked out of the kingdom. Pride causes many people's destruction. It is powerful. Don't underestimate the power of pride. And that's why it's required that we repent to the Most High, that we have a repentant spirit to have our sins forgiven. You're not going to have a proud spirit and talk in pride when your sins are forgiven and you know you don't deserve it. Jeremiah 31:18, Brother Hines. Let's take a look. Jeremiah 31:18. Jeremiah 31 sounds like the new covenant, doesn't it? Aha, thank you, brother. That's right. There you go. Now he's asking about the repentance of Ephraim. Now look, let's read it. Jeremiah 31:18. Praise the Most High. Okay, let's get some context. Let's read up a little bit. Let's see. I'm gonna start at verse 11, and I'm gonna go down to verse 20, right? And 18 is what we're focusing on. Okay, so let's get some context I'm going to start at verse 11 and go down to verse 20, and we're focusing on 18. Okay, beautiful. I'm glad you brought that up, Brother Hines. Let's look at this. For Yahweh hath redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow together to the goodness of Yahweh, for wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd. Their soul shall be as a watered garden. They shall not sorrow any more at all. Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, both young men and old together. For I will turn their mourning into joy, and will comfort them, and make them rejoice from their sorrow. And I will satiate the soul of the priest with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, saith Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children, and refused to be comforted for her children, because they are not. Thus saith the Yahweh, refrain thy voice from weeping, and thine eyes from tears, for thy work shall be rewarded, saith Yahweh. They shall come again from the land of the enemy, and there is hope in thine end, saith Yahweh, that thy children shall come again to their own border. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus. Thou hast chastised me, and I was chastised as a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke. Turn thou me, and I shall be turned, for thou, Yahweh, my most high. Surely after that I was turned, and I repented. After that I was instructed. I smote upon my thigh. I was ashamed, yea, even confounded, because I did bear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him, for I will surely have mercy upon him, saith Yahweh. Praise the Most High. So what is he saying here? Ephraim is repentant. He's repentant, right? But he's not among the 144,000. Does that mean he's lost? No. It just means he's not among the 144,000. He's not of the chosen men sealed in their foreheads that's going to bring this last message. But he is repentant. He's going to be repentant. Praise Most High. So you're going to have people that are repentant. You understand? You're going to have people that are repentant, but not everybody like this. Let's put it this way. There's only 12 apostles, right? But when you read the book of Acts, are they the only 12 saved? Right? Are they the only 12 that received Messiah? No, right? There were others, right? There were lots of others. Barnabas was not an apostle. Paul was. But Barnabas went with Paul, right? Silas was not an apostle. Paul was. But Silas went with Paul. You see what I'm saying? So there are 12 apostles, but they're not the only ones out there. But they're the ones that have been specifically sent. Same with the 144,000. You're going to have other people with them, right? But they're the ones that specifically sent with a message. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So I'm glad we read that though. So because that's a real important point. It's not saying that none of them are going to be saved. Yeah. It's not saying none of them are going to be saved. It's not saying that. It's just like we can't say all black people are going to that are of the Israelite blood is going to be saved, and we can't say all Caucasian people are going to be destroyed. That, you know, we can't say that. We can't just make a monolith and say that. We can't, right? So that's the same thing. It's the same principle. Whoever will drink of the water of life freely. The Israelite first, but also the Gentile. So you're going to have people that come to the truth. And I like to look at it like this. Noah and the ark, right? Now we know 7 is the number of perfection, right? We know 7 is the number of perfection, right? In the Bible. Praise the Most High for his word. 7 is the number of perfection. So who got on the ark? Noah and 7. Noah was the preacher. Noah brought the message. He represents the 144,000. Who came with him? 7, the complete church. You see what I'm saying? So that's the same thing. The 144,000 will bring a message, and they're going to have their 7 with them. Remember what the Most High said to Elijah. I have what? 7,000 that have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. They have not kissed him. See? So there's going to be a remnant, as Paul said, according to the election of grace. But there are certain people that have been called to bring the message, to bear witness of the message. Okay? And so here we have a great example of that. Ephraim is not among the 144,000, yet he's repentant. Yet he's accepted. He's brought back. Same with Dan. They're going to be brought back. Okay? Praise the Most High. Right? So, praise Yah. There's always room for repentance, y'all. If people are willing to put down pride, there's always room for repentance. Always. Okay? Until the day when the Most High closes the book and it's too late. Right? But up until that time, there's room for repentance. Praise the Most High Yah for his grace and his mercy toward all of us. Isn't that right? Okay, so now we got that background. And I'm thankful, Brother Hunt, for bringing that one. Let's go to Hosea chapter 8 now. Hosea chapter 8, that's where we're at today. Hosea chapter 8. So now you got the background of how Ephraim became under these judgments. Started with Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. And I want to tell you, they got worse. Like I said, they got worse. It was under that same string of kings you ended up getting Ahab and Jezebel. Okay? You got a whole bunch of wickedness. When you read First Kings and Second Kings, boy. And First and Second Kings are basically focusing on the northern kingdoms. They mention the southern kingdom, but they're really focusing on the northern kingdom. Whereas First and Second Chronicles talk about the northern kingdom, but they're really focusing on Judah. And so you'll see mostly they're following Judah's events, whereas the kings are following Israel's events. Okay, that's where you have all of that situation. Why you have Elijah the prophet from Manasseh's tribe, the Gileadite, and he, is in the kings, right? Then you have Josiah in Chronicles, right? So they show, that's how that went. But let's go to Hosea chapter 8, and let's begin at verse 1. Hosea chapter 8, beginning at verse 1. The Bible says, "Set the trumpet to thy mouth. He shall come as an eagle against the house of Yahweh, because they have transgressed my covenant and trespassed against my law. Israel shall cry unto me, my Most High, we know thee. Israel has cast off the thing that is good. The enemy shall pursue him. They have set up kings, but not by me. They have made princes, and I knew it not. Of their silver and their gold have they made them idols, that they may be cut off. Thy calf, O Samaria, hath cast thee off. Mine anger is kindled against them. How long will it be ere they attain to innocency? From Israel was it so, was it also. The workman made it, therefore it is not Yahweh. The calf of Samaria shall be broken to pieces." See, it's a man-made idol. The Most High said, I don't know it. I don't even recognize it. I don't recognize your priests. I don't recognize your prayers. I'm not recognizing your altar. Let me tell you, he is not recognizing any Christian denomination. You say, well, can people be saved out of there? We're back to the same thing. Any repentant person can be saved. But as a denomination, he is not recognizing any, because they're false gods. He's not recognizing the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Seventh-day Adventists, the Mormons, he's not recognizing them as anything belonging to him. Why? Same thing is here. The Most High never came down and told them, I want you to create this Seventh-day Adventist church. He never came down and say, I want you to create this thing and call it the Mormon church. He never did that. That's therefore man-made. Not only that, those churches were made by Gentiles. Since when does the Most High say, oh, I'm going to lead Gentiles over my people? That's part of the curse. You understand? He's not recognizing any of that. He only recognizes what he did. He don't dwell in temples made with hands. He told us that. He's only recognizing what he has done. And when you understand that in the context of the Bible, when you're reading Revelation and you understand his servants are the Israelites, his nation is Israel, his chosen is Israel, you understand he's not dealing with all the rest of these denominations. There's no substitute for Israel. Some of them will try to say, well, we are spiritual Israel. No, you're not. There's no spiritual Israel. Either you're the chosen people or you're not. And he will save people that are not, obviously, he will save Gentiles, not the chosen people. He will save that. But even those Gentiles that are saved are acknowledging not only who the chosen people is, but it's their God that they're worshiping. They acknowledge that, the God of the Hebrews. He's not recognizing any of these religions, but within each of them are souls that he knows belongs to him. See, he's going after souls, and he knows which of those that are his, no matter what their denomination is. They could be Buddhists, Hindus, Baptists, Muslims, Nation of Islam. He knows the souls that belong to him. But those organizations do not belong to him. They're not his. He did not make them. But he called Jacob's name Israel. He changed his name. That Most High did that. He said, I've called you by name, you're mine. And he's only recognizing them because he said, I've chosen you above all the people of the earth. Okay, praise the Most High. Let's continue. Verse 7. For they have sown the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. It hath no stalk, the bud shall yield no meal. If so be it yield, the stranger shall swallow it up. Israel is swallowed up. Now they shall be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. For they are gone up to Assyria, a wild ass alone by himself. Ephraim hath hired lovers. Yea, though they have hired among the nations, now will I gather them, and they shall sorrow a little for the burden of the king of princes. Because Ephraim hath made many altars to sin. Altars shall be unto him to sin. I have written to him the great things of my law, but they were counted as a strange thing. They sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of my offerings and eat it, but Yahweh accepteth them not. Now will he remember their iniquity and visit their sins. They shall return to Egypt. For Israel hath forgotten his maker and builded temples, and Judah hath multiplied fenced cities. But I will send a fire upon his cities, and it shall devour the palaces thereof. Return to Egypt, the house of bondage. And isn't that what has happened? Every place where the northern tribes have gone, they have been destroyed by the children of Yefet. If they've not been destroyed, they've been mixed up with them. And then those that have survived in America, they put you in Canada, they put you on reservations. And the greatest levels of alcoholism in all the world are on Indian reservations. I don't care if you got a what you call that, a casino or not. Them casinos are owned by the mob. They're in business with them. Curses on. And only their God can deliver them. Praise the Most High. Only their God can deliver them. See? So praise the Most High Yahweh, man. He is faithful. He is consistent. His message is simple. And it's plain. And you can, any person, can be redeemed. But like I said, no man-made system is going to make it. They're all going to be destroyed because man made it. Anything man makes is defiled, period. And the Most High is undefiled. And only truth and righteousness. And so we are being prepared to be living in that atmosphere, an atmosphere without defilement, without sin, without rebellion. We're being prepared and trained to live in an atmosphere like that. That's what the Most High Spirit is doing for you and me in his word. That's what he's doing, preparing us for that. And we have to look to it by faith. We have to look to it by faith. Praise the Most High. So there is a nice background for the Jeroboam, son of Nebat. Now you see why he's so harsh on the northern kingdom. You see what he said about them. We're going to continue in chapter 9 after the break. It is now 12:26. So we'll come back in about an hour. I would say maybe 1:30 should be good. We'll come back at about 1:30 and we'll continue our study in the prophet Hosea. If we don't see you again today, no problem. Please be safe out there this weekend. Please take care of yourself. And please, let's pray for each other that the Most High will keep us both on the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Shalom.
Maybe.